orbital rings shouldn't have space elevators because it's stupid. Here's the thing, if you have the technology to make a space elevator for an orbital ring, then you have the technology to make an orbital ring that can fold up and down from space, which is the most optimal way to make an orbital ring. You just use the electromotive equivalent of hydraulics to just fold the ring up into space. You'd need to bring it down for maintenance anyway, and your cheapest maintenance would be, here's an army of drones, here's it going down, here's it in the atmosphere, they fix stuff. And it's the most useful when it's doing that, because you can reuse your army of drones used for maintenance to just give it materials to bring up into space. And as it's going up, because you have sunlight and you have an atmosphere, you can just use, like, not even propellers, like ion drives in atmosphere to accelerate it in atmosphere. Whether it's fat atmosphere or thin atmosphere, you can accelerate it, so anything you push up, like fold up, is getting more speed to it. So it's like the weirdest thing. And you can even compress some of that air from the atmosphere to, in space, accelerate. And the air would be falling down as you're accelerating, because you're just pushing it at an angle and the air is falling back down. You're reusing your atmosphere as your fuel along with sunlight. And it's like the most obvious thing in the world that you can just use an orbital ring to move stuff up and down into space. And it's so weird to me. That's my idea for an interorbital material exchange system. Like, you get a couple of orbital rings and they move up and down, and then they just hand each other like 2% of their weight in like pods, and they just like I mean, it seems so obvious to me. It's like, why is nobody like making an interorbital exchange system in sci-fi? Like, I've never heard of anyone using orbital rings that way, and it's like the most obvious thing in the world. Like, even if there's like a speed for orbit like issue, even if there's like a, well, how do you balance the parts blah 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 issue, you could still just use like ion drives to balance out the pressure. Like little harmonica sized ion drives. There's even people trying to put these things into laptops, creating current. Like little cooling ion drives to make, they're not as efficient as fans, but like still no moving parts, no real moving parts other than the air. Like, these are very, very simple things that should have been the norm in sci-fi for like the last 10, 15 years, but there's just, I don't see any innovation with orbital rings, and it's super weird to me.